This video is intended to help you learn how to draw ellipses. Ellipses in art are when you see a circle from the side and it kind of looks like an oval shape. Now, if you see it right from your eye level, it actually will look like a straight line. So I just drew that to remind you of that. Then as you're looking, as it gets a little further away from the straight line look, you're going to see skinnier and skinnier and skinnier ovals. So I'm going to have you practice drawing some of those in this space. That might be one, a little bit more open of an ellipse and an even more open ellipse than that. Okay, so you can practice drawing a few just because they are kind of tricky shapes for some people to get hold of drawing. Here's a really skinny one, and because this is below eye level, I'm going a little wider right here. So once you have practiced those, you might go around a few times and really make them as perfect as you can. Remember, the ellipses don't have pointy ends, and they aren't perfectly flat on the top and bottom either. So these are incorrect versions of an ellipse. You want them to be a little bit more like that. Now these are totally freehand, so they're a little bit wonky, but still they will work pretty well when you are drawing an object to make your object look convincing. Okay, I'm going to start out by drawing this coffee mug, and I'm going to do an ellipse at the top and ellipse at the bottom, and then I'm going to connect the lines on the sides, and then I'm going to do the handle. So first thing, I'm going to draw a what I call a central axis, and that should be an erasable line because you're going to get rid of it. You don't need it in the long run. So this is my first ellipse, and my second one, it's further from my eye level. I'm going to make it a little wider, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my best to connect these, and you should have a pretty convincing cylinder. You can make this into anything you want. You want to make a Coke, make it a little taller, you could have a can of soda. If it's transparent, you can leave this back line. If it's not, go ahead and erase it, okay? Now, if I wanted this to be a coffee cup, I'm going to go ahead and draw a handle. So this exercise is intended to be quick and fun. It's not supposed to, I'm not expecting to see really finished drawings. This is just a time to play around and kind of learn how to do a convincing cylinder in that case. Now the next one we're going to draw is your basic, glass, but this one has a smaller bottom than top, so I'm going to do a smaller ellipse at the bottom. So here I have my my central axis and a pretty narrow ellipse at the top and pretty wide, and at the bottom I'm going to do a skinny one but more open. Okay, and the next step is to connect these with as straight as line as you can manage, and then get rid of things you do not need, like this. Okay. These, my friends, are skeletons of drawings. All of these things could use a lot more drawing, but since what this exercise is intended to do is to give you some practice doing the ellipse, I'm going to leave the extended drawing to you if you want to do it. Otherwise, you can just stop there, okay? Now, your fourth drawing is another variation on a cup. I've got this cute little teacup. This teacup, it has like a curved side, a curved edge. Let me show it to you here. That instead of doing a straight line, we're going to do a curved line, and we're going to do a little, the foot of the cup. If you want, you can do a cute little handle, okay? So I'm going to do a nice pretty open, let me do my central axis. I'm going to do a pretty open ellipse at the top, and then a pretty small ellipse down here, and a slightly wider, maybe half ellipse, just because it's hard to erase in all of that space. And then I'm looking at the cup. It kind of goes down straight a little bit, and then it has a little bit of a cheek. It's kind of cute. I like it. Okay, and that, my friends, is basically your teacup structure. If you just did this amount, I'd be happy enough. But if you want to do a little teeny bit more, let's do a cute little elf ear handle. I like that. Okay, good enough. Okay, if you want to put some tea or coffee in it, go right ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put a little dark area here to stand for my tea or coffee. Okay, and again, I drew that like it's the back half of the ellipse. Okay. Okay, on your second sheet, or your second page, you're going to draw 2 more with me, and then I'm going to send you off to draw 2 on your own. So we're going to start out with this kind of vase shape, and again, central axis. I'm going to draw like about probably 4 or 5 different ellipses to get the nice structure of this vase, and then I'm going to connect them. So first step, central axis. Second step, go ahead and do these. If you're an advanced drawer, you can make them get more and more open, the ellipses, more, I guess you could say, fatter ellipses as you go further down, because these are, oops, that one's a little wide, because these ones are farther from your eye level. If you're just barely getting the grasp of drawing ellipses, don't you worry about making them different widths. Just do your best to draw some ellipses, and believe me, this is going to look pretty good at the end. So once I've gotten this far, I can start to go ahead and connect my ellipses. Okay, and we'll have a very nice, convincing, and the best part is symmetrical shape if your ellipses were drawn well. And there you have it. You have the structure, the skeleton of a vase. Now, if you wanted to make this into a work of art, you probably would need to do a significant amount more. I'm actually going to erase some of these ellipses that I do not need because they're in the way of my nice little vase shape. And just keep the ones I need, and then, of course, sharpen up my lines so I can actually see my drawing. Because, oops, Okay, so you got a nice sharp drawing, or a varied edge if you want to. This one actually has like a double ellipse, so I'm going to do another ellipse in there, and then sharpen them up. Okay, so there you have a cute little vase. This one got a little squished here when they were making it, I think. Correct that a little bit. Okay, so here we have a nice, relatively symmetrical vase. The last one I'm going to invite you to do is this goblet, which is a pretty complicated goblet. It's got the big top, the big base, and then this little kind of thing I guess you could grab if you wanted to. And then it has these 2 tiny little waists, or necks, I guess you could call them. So same process though, and I hope you're getting the experience that it's not actually that hard to draw pretty complex shapes that have ellipses if you use this strategy. So that's the top. I'm going to make the neck here, and then the second neck here, or the waist, I guess you could call it. And then there's a really huge, very open ellipse. It actually goes halfway up there when I'm observing it. So I'm going to make a really big open ellipse back here so that the base looks like it makes sense visually. Okay, so time to do some connecting. If this is going to be that little knob, and then I need to make the goblet, that's the right word for it, the goblet shape. Okay, there we go. And you should see a pretty convincing representation of the goblet when you're looking at this now. And that wasn't a lot of work, to tell you the truth, once I do this structure. So I suggest after you're done with those, you have a little bit more space on your page. You can go ahead, pick some objects from your house, and do some free choice objects. So you can kind of choose your own things you'd like to draw. I found this paint bottle around my classroom, and I thought, well, I'll draw one of those. But you can pick any old objects you want for the last ones that have circles in them so that you can do ellipses, okay? So you don't have to do the same thing I'm doing here. I'm just doing these for an example. Okay. Okay, I just went ahead and sketched one out in about 10 seconds. Okay, but it's starting to kind of look like that paint bottle that I was looking at. There we go. Okay, good. So folks, just to review, you need to do a bunch of ellipse practices, draw central axes that you're going to erase, and then draw those objects. Try your hand at a vase and a goblet, and then you have some free choice options.